evening, Los Angeles. Hello, fans of Major League Soccer. Hello, lovers of the black and gold. Shout out to the millions
and millions
of defenders of the bank listeners. This is episode 325 of the LAFC podcast that Scarf said that your mothers warned you about. I do like the sound of that, though. As I will say, I feel like it keeps the door open for me to have at least one unhinged moment or one of those, you know what really grinds my gear type scenarios. We'll see if tonight brings that out. At the time of this recording, it is Monday, September the 9th, and my hometown New York Jets just lost Monday Night Football to the San Francisco 49ers on the road. Hence why I'm wearing this OG Boomer Esiason jersey. The positive note that I took out of that, at least Aaron Rodgers made it out alive. This is the life of a Jets fan. Now, who am I, you ask? I am the platinum-haired flamingo, Christian Filliman, also known as Philly. And back from his travels to NorCal, where he got to see another team that wears green, I give you the mouth of the South Bay, Mr. J.R. Liebert, known to you all as
the Scarf. What is good, defenders? Philly, dismissed with all the banter. It doesn't matter who's wearing green. You know who else wears green sometimes? The Brazilians. And we got some hat news. We got some Portuguese. We got rumors, Philly. We got a rumor of a Brazilian, but now you and I were talking off air, and you said, and you're probably right, because turns out Olympiacos would have something to say about it. It's not going to be Willian, correct?
No, he signed with Olympiacos on September the 2nd. So that's official. That's done. Fulham at his rights. He's going to be heading to Greece. I know he was seen at BMO Stadium, which actually lit a little bit fire under this rumor, but he is going to be playing in the Greek league. So he will not be the player that we are looking for. Plus, he's actually not even from Rio.
So who's it going to be? Who's the mystery Brazilian? Do we have any idea?
Honestly, like this is another one of those that completely slipped under the radar. I know our friend Celso over at Voices of the Black and Gold seemed to think it might be this kid named Enrique Silva. Who played in France, 30-year-old, close to a 30-year-old. I don't know. I honestly do not know. I've heard Andre Hortinho. I've heard Ronaldinho. Somebody's even went out there and said Pelé. Somebody even on the LAFC chat forum said Bobby Charlton. And I thought, geez, if we're going to pick up dead footballers, at least let's make them Brazilian, not a World Cup winner from 66 and a Manchester United legend. I don't know. Honestly, I do not know. I didn't even know that we were scoping any Brazilians out. This comes as a surprise to me, probably to you, and we're not often surprised.
Philly, 100% a surprise, but you know, for the last 5 years, who my bucket list player, other than Gigi Buffon.
Yeah, I was about to say, your bucket list player is Italian. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but Philly, who have I been saying for years? If John Thorrington, we know you listen to the podcast. Thank you in advance for it being Bobby Firmino. Roberto Firmino, you heard it here first from Scarf, coming to LAFC.
All right, let me do a little bit of research here. So
no,
Bobby Firmino,
he signed like a 3-year
Bobby's
contract.
in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
And he's not from Rio. So you would have to think it's a player that's either from Rio or signed to a club that's in Rio. But Bobby Firmino, nope, that's not it, because he's in Saudi Arabia, nor is he from Rio de Janeiro.
I know. I just want it. I'm going to keep speaking. I've said it before. If LeVar Ball can get 3 kids into the NBA or the G League, I got to be able to try to get Bobby Firmino here. I couldn't do it with Gigi Buffon, but we got the next best thing. In fact, probably a better thing in Giorgio Chiellini. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I
was thinking, because we have him on loan, for a split second, I was thinking it could be Edward Atuesta, because he's still technically on loan from Palmeiras, but Palmeiras is in Sao Paulo, so that would scratch that thought too.
And Richard Martinez brings up a very good point. For them to come into MLS at this point, they would have to be unemployed right now. Free agent is what they like to call it in the sports world, but they'd have to be out of contract, unemployed, whatever you want to say, free agent. So yeah, look, this kid
Silva fits the bill, Scarf.
Yeah.
And he's from Rio de Janeiro.
Look, let's let the rumor flag fly. I can't wait. LAFC has posted a hat They posted Portuguese. I can't wait. I don't know who it is, but you know what? It's going to be reinforcements because I'll tell you what, we needed some after this last match, but so stoked for the boys. I was far too excited about this 0-0 draw after the match because let's be perfectly honest. We went in there with one hand tied behind our backs and an eye patch over one eye. We were down 7 players that get regular playing time. What was it, Philly? 73% of our regular season goals off and away out on international duty.
Correct.
73%. It's absolutely nuts. I love the chat right now. It's just blowing up. We got Marcelo rumors, Rafinha rumors, Enrique Silva.
I mean, Marcelo is from Rio. So there is that. But I mean, look, the dude's, I don't know. This kid Silva seems more up John Thornton's alley. He'd come in at a cost that is very inexpensive. He last played for Vasco da Gama, as we know that they are based in that area. That I don't know. You know what? I don't even. This is fun. We could speculate all we want. I will say this. I will caution you all to not think too highly, because if you're going to set yourself up for failure. It's like me wearing a Jets jersey right now. It's the hope that kills you, right?
Philly, look, in the chat, you just mentioned Celso. He's like Beetlejuice. He just appeared out of nowhere.
That's so funny. We were just talking about you, bro.
We literally just talked about Celso. He says he doesn't buy that the replacement is a center back for Murillo, that this has been an injury and it's been a whole thing. I don't know. We'll see. It's not Marcelo.
Okay, so he's still there. So you said it's this kid Silva. I'd love for Celso to actually come on. What all right, you're in the chat. We're going to dictate to people that are not watching, that are going to be listening. Celso, is it this kid Silva? He's from Rio. He was last contracted at Vasco da Gama. He's a free agent. I want to see your response in the chat, brother. By the way, shout out to Voices of the Black and Gold.
Yeah, shout out to Voices of Black and Gold. Also, Philly, real quick, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Counter Press, Kurt Kinsey, Josh Cacho, 200 episodes over at Counter Press. You can find them at counterpress_, the underscore at the end of their social media. One of the excellent tactical pods that you will hear. We absolutely love our guys at Counter Press. We got Eric and Celso both in the room from Voices of Black and Gold.
We need to do a flipping super pod one of these days. Maybe we should all right, the idea hit. Maybe we should ignite a super pod for this derby match coming up this weekend. Voices of the Black and Gold, I'm putting the idea in your head. Obviously, we could reach out to Happy Foot. We could talk to Joseph Zacher. A super pod would be fun.
It'd be a lot of fun, that's for sure. You guys, look, it's fun in the chat. It's silly season because of a hat post. That's what we love so much. It's obviously also silly season because in just a week, we head down to the mean streets of Carson, to Dignity Health Sports Park, to take on the Galaxy in a derby match. And before all of that, Philly, you and I have to talk about a 0-0 nail-biter that, honestly, after watching the match, seemed like the fairest result was a 0-0 draw there in Houston for sure. So lots of fun stuff to talk about, Philly. I don't know how you're feeling, but shall we get into the usual suspects?
Yep. Celso says this kid Silva does fit JT's profile, and I agree. The minute I actually saw it on your Twitter post, Celso, and then I saw you and Eric kind of going back and forth with things a little bit, I did a little bit of digging myself, and yes, he does fit JT's profile, and he wouldn't come at a big cost. This kid would be a TAM signing without a doubt, and we do have some targeted allocation money. So, yeah, all right, I'm going to say it right here for the millions.
And millions.
If it is Silva, Voices of the Black and Gold called it first, and it was Celso. So if you guys get it, we're giving you your flowers prematurely.
Yeah, is a left back, right? Enrique Silva, left back.
You got the internet, Scarf.
Yeah,
shouldn't ask questions while we're live on a pod, but we should get into news.
Making sure we're talking about the right guy here. So that could be
30-year-old.
We've talked about that being the missing depth piece out there. Just having one, whether it's obviously Sergio Palencia, Ryan Hollingshead, Omar Campos, whoever doesn't start is our only depth there at left back. So it really does look like that would be another depth piece that we would look to make a little bit more than a depth piece. Could be fun. Look, either way, could be fun. Let's get into
it wouldn't
episode
be
Evander
320. Football fool. It's got to be a free agent. Evander's not a free agent.
Yeah, no Evander. Episode 325. And Philly, before the hat drop, I did want to mention a couple of quick things off the top. You guys all know Philly and I are diehard Mets fans. Today was a sad one in the world of the Metropolitans. Rest in peace, Eddie Kranepool, the original Met, passed away. I think it was yesterday, of a heart attack. Eddie Kranepool is the original Met. He was signed as a 17-year-old in 1962 and was with the club through 1979, obviously winning the World Series in 1969 with the Metropolitans. He's a player who is among Mets lore and all-time greats. He will always be on their Mount Rushmore. Rest in peace, Eddie Kranepool. Philly, I feel like, has an Eddie Kranepool related tidbit.
I don't. Sadly, yes. Rest in peace, Eddie Kranepool. While we were on the subject of rest in pieces.
Oh, I have that too.
Rest in peace, James Earl Jones, 93 years old. Thank you for the body of work that you've left us. If it's Star Wars, for me, it's honestly, it's Field of Dreams. That's truly where I fell in love with James Earl Jones, because that's when I realized that's Darth Vader. I forget how old I was when Field of Dreams came out. So rest in, and obviously Mufasa too. Let's not forget that. Lion King, one of my favorite, if not one of the best Disney movies that came out in that old animation style. But rest in peace, James Earl Jones, 93, passed away peacefully in his home in Dutchess County, New York. R.I.P. to another legend.
Yeah, you mentioned it. 93 years old.
Hot in here.
And everybody does know him, obviously, as the voice of Darth Vader. That's who my dad loved more than anything else, was Darth Vader, and he loved the voice of James Earl Jones doing Darth Vader. And obviously it wasn't James Earl Jones inside the costume. That was David Prowse. But James Earl Jones, 93. Do yourselves a favor, you guys. And it might not hit you in the way that it does if you watch the entire movie. But go to YouTube after you're done watching us and just go ahead and bring up his monologue on baseball in Field of Dreams. It is one of those goosebumps chicken skin moments. You don't have to be a baseball Ray. Yeah. You don't have to be a baseball guy. And as Genuine Cougar mentions right there in the chat, 93 is a hell of a run.
Should all be so lucky.
So,
also, while you're at it, when you're done with that, go watch the original voice of Darth Vader. That's funny. I can totally understand why they decided to bring James Earl Jones in, because if y'all would have heard what Darth Vader sounded like originally before they dubbed James Earl Jones on there, you would have never looked at Star Wars the same damn way again either. All right, so there's that. Right. So more news.
All right, so let's get into this day in LAFC history real quick. The match was played on the 7th. And Philly, isn't it weird how history, we talk about it all the time, has a tendency to repeat itself? That's exactly what happened on the same date in 2019. This is why I love LAFC in the world of football. On the 7th of September 2019, LAFC also went on the road, this time to Orlando, and they earned a point in a 2-2 tie. Not 0-0, but 2-2. But Philly, LAFC playing with just 16 active bodies in this one, and the goals were scored by Diego Rossi, no surprise, but the first MLS goal for former Empire striker and Ontario Fury's own Adrian Perez, the pride of LMU. Also starting up top on that one was another Perez. We used to play Name That Perez all the time. It's just a hot mess of a starting lineup in that match. But what LAFC did was cobble it together, make it happen. Adama Diamande still did start up top, which is pretty awesome. But in 2019, LAFC with a patchwork lineup again, a 2-2 draw instead of 0-0, but still earning a point on the road. And Philly, I talked about 3 of the 4 that LAFC signed to short-term contracts. A little surprised that it was Adrian Wabowo and not our boy Luis Muller. But I think they might be out of call-ups for Luis Muller. I got to go back and check. But LAFC signing 4 players to short-term contracts. Wearing number 77 was forward Adrian Wabowo. Wearing number 70 was midfielder Matt Evans. I talked a little bit about him. I touched on him. But the 2 I was sure on Diego Rosales, 43. And I was hoping Luca Bombino would finally get a call into the big squad, and he did, wearing number 42. Those were the 4 players for short-term contracts. I don't know if Philly's going to mention those in the 18.
I don't have to anymore. You already did half a good portion of my work, and they didn't play, so we're good.
Right. That's what I was saying. They didn't play. They got to run around in Houston for a little bit and get all sweaty, but they got to come up with a big club. And then, of course, based on the 0-0 effort, although I think it's totally ridiculous, Aaron Long makes the team of match day 31 in the starting lineup. I don't know. I guess Aaron Long played fine. And Hugo Lloris, with his 10th shutout of the season, makes the bench.
Can you leave that to me? That you're now you're hopping on my job.
What job?
The lineups. This is all part of what I'm talking about.
Oh, it's just team of match day 31. This is news.
But it's the lineup. It's the game. We still have other news to talk about.
All right. Well, how about Benny Feilhaber? Can I talk about Benny Feilhaber?
You can talk about Benny. We've had him on the pod.
We did have Benny on the pod. LAFC 2 beat Benny Feilhaber and Sporting Kansas City 2-1 in a home match at Titan Stadium on Sunday. The goal scorers were Matthias Wanchope and Nick Sullivan. Our next match is Saturday, September 14th, which is, of course, the same day as the derby. But they're traveling up to Providence Park to take on Timbers 2. And as a reminder for all your ACFC needs, please be sure to listen to Angel City Chicks and to follow at Angel City Chicks on all your social media platforms. Any news and notes from you, Philly?
Yeah, actually a few things. So real quick, on Wednesday, September the 11th from 1 to 3:30, there will be a volunteer event at the LA Regional Food Bank presented by DoorDash. It's going to be at 2300, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing this, Pelletier Place in the City of Industry. So check that out. LAFC posted about it on their Twitter page. So I know a lot of you out there do like to participate in these volunteer events. So check that out. Again, the time Wednesday, September 11th from 1 to 3:30 in the City of Industry. In addition, a few LAFC players are going to be out and about this week. On Tuesday, September the 10th, which is, tomorrow, from 4 to 5 p.m. at Five Below at 9090 Apollo Way in Downey, California, presented by Five Below. You could get to meet newest midfielder Lewis O'Brien. Lewis O'Brien will be there. In addition to Lewis, 5:30 to 6:30, Timothy Tillman's going to be out and about at the Northgate Market at 4700 Inglewood Boulevard in Culver City, right down the road from Scarf. That is presented by Corbel, California Champagne. How come Timmy gets the champagne? I want some of the champagne. And then 2 more players, Scarf. There's going to be on Wednesday, September the 11th from 5 to 6 at the Auto Collision Group in Whittier, California, 12426 Lambert Road. You'll get to meet Eddie Segura and Jesus David Murillo. So quite a few LAFC players are going to be out and about. There's your opportunity to get things signed, have some conversations. I asked Lewis O'Brien a question in the press conference last time around. Very nice young man, a key addition to our lineup. So that's the news I have there. What do you have, if anything else?
Just that I'll see everybody at Timothy Tillman's appearance in Culver City. I get off work at 5 o'clock. So I'm going to head over to Northgate, maybe get a couple
Corbel, right? You champagne drinking maniac, you.
No, look, it's at Northgate. I might get some carne asada, maybe something yummy over at Northgate. And we do love our Timothy Tillman. Such a good dude. Daniel, what's happening, my friend? Philly.
I do have a couple more things, unless what do you got?
Yeah, no, rock and roll.
I just really quick wanted to just go over our players that are on international duty. I'll fly through this unless you had a thing prepared for it.
Yeah, no, I think what we will do though, right, is before or after the Carson match, since everybody will be back and have played all their matches on our episode next, we'll go through how everybody did. But Philly's going to go through all the duties.
All right, yeah. So Denny's out with Gabon. He played on Friday against Morocco. Played the full 89 minutes. Gabon got their butts kicked. They're going to be playing against Central African Republic tomorrow at 9 a.m. Matty Bogusz is in with Poland. He didn't feature in the game against Scotland, but he did get to line up on the 8th, which was yesterday, alongside Robert Lewandowski. Unfortunately, Croatia did beat Poland by a score of 1-0. Matty got a star, got a 6.2 player rating as per FOTMob, played 62 minutes in the game. So congrats to Matty Bogusz. Kike Oliveira did not make or play against Paraguay. And the next game is going to be tomorrow with Uruguay taking on Venezuela at 3 p.m. in a World Cup qualification CONMEBOL match. Could be David Martinez versus Kike Oliveira. I don't know. Speaking of David Martinez, did not play or make the 18 in Venezuela's getting thrashed by Bolivia. Next game, I already mentioned it. Maxime Chanot did not play for Luxembourg in the match against Northern Ireland, where the Northern Irish beat Luxembourg 2-0. He did, however, play in the match against Belarus, which was yesterday. Belarus won 1-0. He started, played the full 90, completed the most passes in the match out of any player with 79, and was the most fouled player throughout the course of the game. Don't have anything on Omar Campos, and that's the updates real quick. We'll obviously go through more of that at the next pod. So just a little update in regards to our players on international duty.
Yeah, and obviously the one you and I were most excited about. Congrats to Maddie. Played the first, hour and change for 61 minutes or so alongside Lewandowski, and just an awesome thing to see him get his first ever international call-up to the first team. Could not be more proud of Maddie. The nice part is he's also done, so he's presumably on his way back and already maybe even back to Los Angeles so he can get some rest and some training before the 14th. Going into the match, by the way, against Carson, I believe it's Sergi Palencia is on yellow card accumulation watch for LAFC. Surprisingly, nobody else. But Sergi Palencia will be on yellow card accumulation watch. And last little thing, just quick, also not going to be playing for Carson will be Joseph Paintsel because of yellow card accumulation, which is kind of a big one.
Huge.
Yeah.
I personally don't like that.
That he's not playing?
That he's not playing, but we'll address that next time around.
Yeah, for sure. But Philly mentioned it. We traveled to Houston a little light. Down 7 regular players for the match. The 6 that Philly just talked about on international duty. And, of course, Jesus Murillo. But that being said, Philly, and we talked about, just in case you guys missed it, 73% of our regular season goals did not travel to Houston. We would call up the 4 players that we mentioned in Wabowo, Evans, Bombino, and Rosales. Obviously, none of them would see playing time. But here's what I love, Philly. LAFC made some history by starting some old guys. I absolutely love it. I'm going to let you get into that when it gets to the lineups.
Thank you.
It just it warms the cockles of my heart that we have a 40-year-old on the team, Philly. And he's such a great dude, and he's not like window dressing. Dude is a legit MLS striker still at 40. Very excited about that. Let's get into the lineups. I'll start first with head coach Ben Olsen and his 4-2-3-1. Just replay the part where I talked about our lineup 7 days ago.
Yeah, same damn lineup.
Because it's the same lineup. Steve Clark in goal, Franco Escobar, Mikhail Eric Sviatchenko, and Griffin Dorsey, who, by the way, Philly, one more time, where'd he go?
Indiana, we're all for you, IU. Dude, they scored 77 points against their opponent this past week. That was wild. Not thinking that they're going to do the same thing in the Rose Bowl on Saturday. My Hoosiers are in town to play football against the Bruins. That'll be good. Omar, thank you.
Yeah, want to give a quick shout out to Omar Campos. Omar Cabral. When Omar Cabral and Omar Campos are right above each other, that's really fun. Omar Campos played 90 minutes on the 6th against Panama's U23. They have one more match, or maybe it was a day ago, against Panama's U23 again. But Omar Cabral, thank you for giving us the Omar Campos. So anyways, Griffin Dorsey, Philly, your boy from IU, easily
pretty good.
My player of the match in this one. He was great. The midfield of Artur and Hector Herrera, and then Ibrahim Aliyu, Amine Bassi, Sebastian Kowalczyk, and Ezekiel Ponce. The only 2 that would see the pitch on subs were Brad Smith and Coco Carrasquilla. Pretty much a redo of the lineup that we saw last match.
Yep. For LAFC, actually a pretty good starting lineup, man. Coming out, we were talking about it. Would they switch to a 4-4-3? Would they have a formation where they would have one lone striker up top? Would they really put Giroud and Kamara up top together? I like this. When I saw the lineup, I know you texted me. You were at a baseball game in Oakland saying goodbye to the once proud Oakland Athletics. I did mention that on One More Sleep, my 15-minute condensed version of it, which I actually had a good time doing. Hugo Lloris is now the only LAFC player that has started in all 26 of the club's regular season matches. He got the nod with Thomas Asal as the backup, and there goes Scarf. For those that are watching, for those that are not watching, Scarf has left the window. In the back, we have Ryan Hollingshead, Aaron Long, Eddie Segura making his 104th appearance. Oh, look at, wait, oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, for those that are listening to this that have no idea why I'm going nuts, Scarf not only just bought a t-shirt from his time visiting the Oakland Athletics, he bought a Hello Kitty Oakland A's t-shirt. Jumpstart my heart. This Hello Kitty. Hi, Scarf. Is really thrilled. That's pretty dope. All right.
That's my gift to you from Oakland, my friend. So there you go.
I appreciate that. Thank you. My gift to you will be, I'll fly through this. Ryan Hollingshead, Aaron Long, Eddie Segura, his 104th appearance, Sergei Palencia. We had Ilie Sanchez, Edward Atuesta, Lewis O'Brien, and Timothy Tillman making his first start for LAFC since July the 17th. And up top, we have Olivier Giroud and Kai Kamara. Couple of interesting things here. LAFC becomes the first team in MLS history to start 3 players age 37 or older in an MLS regular season game. That's Hugo, that's Olivier, that's Kai. Kai, by the way, who turned 40, welcome to the 4th floor, on Sunday became just the 10th player in Major League Soccer history to appear in a game at the age of 40 or older. And as per LAFC PR, of those 10, only 4 were not goalkeepers. And of those 4, Kamara is the first 40-year-old to play in a game since the start of the 2010 MLS season. So some fun statistics. And again, for those wondering why we were without so many players, there's talks about why did LAFC schedule this game during this time. This was the reschedule from July 7th. Hurricane Beryl screwed it all up, and they placed it on this part of the calendar, which of course put us in a situation where we were without 6 of our regulars because of international duty, and Jesus David Murillo because he was injured. Scarf did say that's 73% of LAFC's total offense. If you are really hardcore about your mathematics, that's 35 out of 48 goals, rounded up 72.9 to 73%. That's who we were without. It was not only a hand tied behind our back, it was 2 and a foot. Actually, screw that, and an entire leg. So that's the LAFC lineup going into Texas, a place that has been nasty to us historically.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, other than Kyle Beckerman, Dax McCarty, and Jeff Lorenovich, Kai Kamara, according to Transfer Market, has played the most games of any outfield player in Major League Soccer history for all competitions at 453. The dude has just been around. He's a dozen matches behind Kevin Hartman at 465, and then 2 more to Jeff Lorenovich at 467. Kevin Hartman.
Yeah, I know. I'm just messing with you.
But man, let me tell you, how cool was LAFC PR? They provided us with some really cool stats on that one. But my favorite, and look, for those of you guys that don't collect cards, Topps Now does this thing with MLS where they create cards based on the match. They totally screwed up and missed the moment. How cool would it have been to have a card with Olivier Giroud, Hugo Lloris, and Kai Kamara on there as the 3 37-plus-year-olds to start a game for the first time. Boo Topps. I hope this gets back to you. Boo Topps. You missed out on an incredible piece of history. Giroud, Lloris, and Kamara, the 37-year-olds and older on a card for the first time. All right. I mean,
along with the players that came off the bench, Eric Duenas, Nathan Ordaz, and the players that you mentioned that got signed, these guys, the 3 that were over 37, I mean, guys like Bombino and Duenas, they could have been the sons of Kai, Olivier, and Hugo. How crazy. Right. I mean, obviously, as you get to a certain age, pop culture references start to go way over the youngin's head. I wonder what everybody talks about in the locker room. Like, what does Hugo say? What does he talk to Eric Duenas about? I would love to be a fly on the wall in those scenarios.
Look, I'm sure that Hugo and Eric get along swimmingly, but I'm pretty sure I could also count on one hand the amount of conversations that maybe those two have had together in the locker room. That being said, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Philly, we've already seen it in baseball plenty of times, most notably, obviously, with Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. playing in the same outfield together, hitting back-to-back home runs together. Like, that's just blows my mind. Obviously, we're going to see it at some point this year with the Los Angeles Lakers and the eternal one, LeBron James and Bronny James. I don't think we're that far off, Philly, to seeing it in our lifetime somewhere, whether it's in Major League Soccer or maybe even, you know, some of the other lower. It's not going to happen in like the Prem or anything like that. But how cool would it be to see a father and son play in MLS? I mean, Kai's kids are way young, so that's not going to happen. But it would still be pretty cool.
Yeah, in Major League Soccer, you would see that. Yeah, you're right. You wouldn't see that in England. You might see that in Brazil. Obviously, there's a lot of players that you might even see that in some of like the wasn't there? Is there a player? I think in Japan.
Yeah,
like close to 50, and
yeah,
he's still going.
Yeah,
so,
I think he's retiring after this year. I think. But yes, you're right. The player is Kazuyoshi Miura.
That's right.
Who he's like how old is he now? God, he played in 2023, 2024 at 56. And I think that's when he hung it up.
Look at Japan, bro. They found the fountain of youth. Forget living out here. I'm 44. I feel like I'm 30, but my knees feel like I'm 70. I'm going to go out there, man, and hang out with them. Either that or some island in Greece where the life expectancy is above what it is here in the United States. I've lowered my life expectancy simply driving on the 5. It just
How about this, Philly? He actually finished his career in Portugal in the 2nd division. That's pretty cool. Oh, wait. He is currently signed to Atletico Suzuka, where he has played 2 goals this year. And Philly
played 2 goals?
Played 2 games. And then
did he play 2 games or score 2 goals? What is it?
So from 1990 to 2000, he represented Japan. And then flash forward 12 years later, he played 6 matches for Japan's futsal club.
That's it. I'm out of here, man. I'm going right to Tokyo. Forget this place. Screw y'all. I'm going to Japan.
That's awesome. Oh my God.
All right, let's talk about this 0-0 game.
Let's do it. All right, look. I thought I was going to be able to pick on my boy Edward Atuesta in this match because he did not have the best of starts. He was ball chasing as Ache blew by him in the 3rd minute, creating a minor chance. And then on his next possession, he turns it over, and Artur buzzes the tower from distance but wide. But I'll be honest, he didn't have that bad of a game. He did have another yellow card, but no big deal. But Philly, how about that cross by Sergi in the 8th minute? We almost had something real early, man.
We're really going minute by minute, aren't we? Yeah.
No, I just want to talk about that cross.
Yeah, it was a great cross. Nothing happened, but it was a great cross.
Kai Kamara was late. If he's there, we score. We're up 1-0, 8 minutes in. It's a huge game.
I get it. I mean, like we could have said in the 8th, 9th minute, like off the corner from Atuesta. Wait, Giroud, could have gotten a header, but it gets cleared away by Sviatchenko. I mean, yeah, there were a couple of nice build-ups, Scarf. I mean, but they're all coulda, shoulda, wouldas.
Well, look, I said Griffin Dorsey was my player of the match, and there were just so many times, first half, second half, and you guys can go back and watch the match. I won't enumerate the 3 or 4 of them that I think were really important, but there were just too many times where Griffin Dorsey kept the play going and had a wonderful cross or 2 over the course of the match. The guy that I was worried about, Philly, coming into this because of how well he had played against us last match is their new big striker, their DP signing, Ezequiel Ponce. And 22nd minute, over that beautiful ball from Ache over the top. And dude fell down, got up, kind of bodied off Eddie Segura and fired it. Thank goodness, right-ish at Ugo, like a slight jump to his right, but he saw it the whole way. It really should have been 1-0 there if he's able to put that in any corner.
I'm just impressed with like how he just stuck with the play. He falls off, gets back up, and fires one right away. I mean, this kid he was my pick to watch as player of the game. I wasn't going to go with Aliou or Bassi or any of the other guys. I should have picked Griffin Dorsey. I mean, I'm an IU guy, so is he. But I was very much impressed. Yeah, Ache had that great pass. Ponce just Shout out to you for not falling down and whining like a baby, getting up and still making that play happen. But Scarf, 2 minutes later, and a lot of action really did happen within the 20 minutes. Olivier Giroud finally got some decent service in the box. I feel like everybody's like, oh, Olivier's not doing anything. He's not really getting the ball in positions where he can do anything. In the 24th minute, though, I think this was an opportunity that could have been his. I mean, Timothy Tillman had a really nice cross into the box. Olivier did head it, but it fell off of the mark. But finally, we're getting some decent service. Shout out to Timothy Tillman again, making his first start since July 17th.
Sorry. Vince just texted us back based on what you said, and it made me laugh. Shout out Vince LaRosa.
Hashtag fired.
But that text is funny. Yeah, look, it's been tough. Philly, I'll say this about Olivier Giroud. He obviously hasn't set the world on fire since coming to LAFC. There are just some times, and I'll be honest, I worry about the way he runs. He runs like he has a little hitch in his giddy up. I haven't quite seen him get all the way up, although towards the end of the match, he got way high on one and almost got one.
Did he now?
I think he's still figuring out the pace and everything. And you're absolutely right, by the way. He has not received great service.
No, he hasn't. And there's receipts. I know there's something that I said 1,000 times. I told y'all to be very cautious about putting all your hopes and dreams into a 38-year-old striker. Yes, he was top 10 in Serie A for one of the biggest clubs in the world, AC Milan, in goals and assists. And I don't mean on their team. I mean throughout the course of Serie A. He'll be fine. Just we were fine without him. Hopefully he can get some more time to be acclimated with our team and our system. He didn't have a preseason. Same with Lewis O'Brien, for that matter. These are guys that just kind of got up and got thrown into the fire. And that's how you're going to learn trial by fire. He'll come through for us down the road. That's my receipt. You heard it right here on September the 9th. We will be fine, and he will do some really incredible things.
Here's what I do know. Gareth Bale didn't do a whole lot until he did a whole lot on one play. So I'm not saying we need to put our hopes and dreams into Olivier Giroud making one play in an MLS Cup final, but I'm just saying that, success can be measured in many different ways, right? Giroud trying to give it to Lewis O'Brien there in the 27th minute, but his shot saved by Steve Clark. Your boy Griffin Dorsey had it again, 32nd minute. Sergi Palencia was there, though. Sergi was my player of the match in this one for LAFC Philly. I don't know how you feel. A lot of people love Ugo. Ugo did what he needed to do. Nothing super spectacular. Sergi just continues to just be a baller for this club. And if he's unavailable, let's say he gets a yellow against Carson and now he has to sit for yellow card accumulation, that's going to be a big loss. And Philly, I got to say it, man. Rookie mistake. Rookie mistake by Olivier Giroud in stoppage time.
5 minutes of stoppage. In the dying minutes of that, we nearly landed that first proverbial punch. Nice ball movement, by the way, from the back. Ryan Hollingshead gets the block, gets a pass into Tillman. Tillman to Kai. Kai back to Timmy. Timmy and Olivier over to Ryan Hollingshead. And Ryan did something that we hadn't done in up to 135, 140 minutes against the Dynamo. And that's get one past Steve Clark. It was a good pass by Olivier Giroud, but he was whistled offside. And you say it was a rookie mistake. It was close. It was close. A nose hair close. And even though the goal didn't happen, and I wish it did, because that would have been possibly it. I will say it was a great counter for LAFC, considering how many pieces were off of our normal chessboard. That was impressive.
The reason why I say it's a rookie mistake is he has visual confirmation of where that defender is at all times. The defender was in front of him rather than behind him. And I'm sorry, Olivier, you got to find a way to stay on side in that one first, man. You make the run, you make the right move, but you can see the defender. He didn't lure you. You could see the defender. I was a little frustrated at Olivier on that one. But that being said, a solid first half. If you want to go over the stats, we can.
I'll do it quick.
All right.
Look, they had 68 possession. I'll let you do the math on everything else. We had an XG of 0.16. We had one shot on target. We strung together 121 accurate passes. We barely had the ball, defenders. Barely had the ball at all. Hugo had a couple of saves. There you go. Those are your stats. The entire half was dominated by Houston, but we came within centimeters, no, scratch that, millimeters of having drawn that first punch. And man, did I lose it for a split second. But as I've learned time and time again, always keep your eye on the sideline official before you start to get overjoyed. And despite the fact that they scored, Ryan Hollingshead kind of waved his fingers. My indicator as to whether or not it truly is offside, if we can't get the visual representation on VAR, is watch how the players react. If they are adamant and going nuts, chances are they felt like they were robbed. If it's like a little protest, like a poo kind of a deal, then chances are that was it. So that was the only time anybody threaded the netting.
Well, I appreciate you using the metric system so that Olivier knows how far he was offside. Very much appreciated. Second half, look, we started out 2 yellow cards. Thanks. Edward, Lewis O'Brien, couple of yellow cards. And Lewis O'Brien on the Apple broadcast said some things that you're not allowed to say on this podcast. He had potty mouth on that one. That was rough. And then, look, 65th minute Philly was our chance to pounce. Thanks to Steve Clark almost twice. I love Maurice Edu. He literally says Houston just made a mess of the ball. Lazy pass from Steve Clark out to the right. Intercepted by Giroux, by the way, who was moving quite nicely. And his cross just misses Timothy Tillman. But in deflecting the ball away from Tillman, Steve Clark deflects it off his own defender, and it narrowly misses a goal. And then off the corner, we get a decent effort from Ryan Hollingshead. But Philly, that could have been another opportunity. And you mentioned it. We didn't have the ball very much at all over the course of this match. And yet the couple of times that we did make some nice transitions and some nice turnovers, we really did look relatively clinical despite playing in a formation that we have not played all season, 4-4-2.
Yeah, with players that, still trying to get a feel for each other. You look at Lewis O'Brien, he's been here for a shot of espresso. Olivier, half of a shot of espresso. So still trying to figure things out. We had a couple opportunities. Yeah, that 67th minute, tough touch for Ryan. Couldn't handle it. It would have been a great look at Steve Clark. 85th minute, Timothy Tillman had a great maneuver where he used his body to create some space. Got a pass on over to Nathan Ordaz. He drew a foul just top of the box, but nothing happened there. 90th minute, Eddie Segura on his 104th MLS appearance had a clean look at Steve Clark. He just didn't have enough mustard on his shot. It was an easy save for Steve Clark to make, but that's it. I mean,
right.
Unless I missed something. I mean, that was
I was just going to highlight your Indiana boy one more time with another good cross by Griffin Dorsey, but unfortunately, Franco Escobar couldn't put it on target. But yeah, look, I do want to say a couple quick things. I thought, obviously, I mentioned Sergi and I mentioned Griffin Dorsey, but you mentioned him as earning a nice free kick for us. Nathan Ordaz, who came in the 67th minute, he got 23 minutes and change of run in this one. And I really did like what Nathan brought to the pitch. I thought that the game plan for Nathan Ordaz, it was probably a planned substitution for Kai Kamara. At some point during training, they probably said, all right, somewhere between the 60th and the 70th, be ready to go. And here are your marching orders when you do get in there. And I thought it was a very good shift by Nathan Ordaz, a kid who would love to see him get a little bit more run. It's just hard. I mean, we're stacked at the position that he plays right now. He's young. He's got some more time with us. So I was really happy to see that once the congestion really cleared in front of him, and we're talking again, obviously, you guys, with no Denny Bawanga, no David Martinez, no Kike Oliveira, and no Matty Bogusz, he really did have a chance to play significant minutes and did play significant minutes. It caught Maurice Edu's eye, obviously, several times on the broadcast, but I just want to give him his props for a very solid 23 minutes. Philly, dare I say, 0-0 might have been exactly what we came to Houston to do in this match.
I mean, look, we got a point on the road. Point on the road. Look, we had 2 shots on target. They had 3. We did all right. I mean, that moves us, 4 points of first place.
Yep.
We were unbeaten. We have a road unbeaten streak of 7 games that goes back to May 4th. Hugo got his 10th shutout in a 26 regular season season. I mean, first goalkeeper in the Major League Soccer, by the way, this year to get 10 or more shutouts in the regular season. And here's a statistic I'm going to smile at. Here's this is fun. Now, LAFC's 10 regular season shutouts this season are one shy of a club record, which is 11. And that was set last season. Only, and there's a specific person in my mind that I'm thinking of.
I know.
Only Tyler Miller. I want to sit here for a second and let that individual bask in there.
You're a jerk.
I know I'm going to hear it. Only Tyler Miller with 19 and Maxime Crepeau with 11 have more shutouts in MLS regular season games for LAFC than Lloris. I get it. We haven't been around that long. That's not anything too tough, but not too shabby for a performance from our elder statesman in between the pipes. He was my player of the match.
Yeah, look, LAFC's played a lot of matches this season between Open Cup and obviously Leagues Cup this season. We have 15 clean sheets in all of our competitions, and Hugo Lloris has 14 of them. So, but can we just take a second?
Abraham Romero.
Before we finish talking about, we'll get into the next match. Obviously, it's against Carson, and where we are in the table, we're 4 points behind Carson. RSL's right behind us, 47. All right, now we're done with that. I feel badly for Abraham Romero. I feel worse for the Columbus Crew, but I don't.
No.
Their top two keepers were away on international duty, and they had used all of the remaining call-ups for their academy kids. So Abraham Romero was the only keeper available for Columbus Crew, picked up a red card, basically getting way over his skis and interfering with a last man dog-so style. So poor Sean Zawadzki, who I actually don't feel badly for any of these players. Abraham Romero is not making friends in Columbus anytime soon.
No, he most certainly isn't. And speaking of people who aren't making friends, I got to say, you talk about Indiana guys.
Yes.
Caleb Porter, my dude.
Oh, dude, he went Porter.
Caleb Porter had one of the best rants I ever heard about pro referees. I mentioned Indiana because he played college soccer there, by the way. But Caleb Porter flat out said, I don't care what Don Garber says. Those refs were cowards. Do yourselves a favor. Caleb Porter's the head coach of the New England Revolution. He went on a tirade, and it's all over the interminets. Go ahead, do yourself a favor. We've told you to check out a lot of things. Scarf said check out James Earl Jones's Baseball Ray Field of Dreams monologue. I'm telling you to go listen to how Darth Vader sounded before James Earl Jones. But if we're going to keep it on Major League Soccer, you got to go listen to what Caleb Porter said, because we have all felt this at some point, one or another. Dude's going to get fined, but he gets high five. If I ever saw him in a bar, I would buy him a drink, not only because he and I both went to IU, but because I loved his rant. Yeah. They should have gotten that. That's that.
Yeah, you know that it's bad when you say into a microphone, I don't care if I get fined. But I do love the Boston Globe's headline was, in Caleb Porter's rant following Saturday's Revolution draw, there's a message MLS needs to hear. Like, okay, all right. One last quick thing. Since I think you and I can agree, Philly, the supporters shield is likely out of reach for the rest of the season, thanks to the Ibises over there. Let's take a look at the Golden Boot race. Christian Benteke did score last match day, which puts him at 18, Chicho at 17, and Denis Bouanga and Luis Suarez at 16. Also lurking back there, Daniel Gazdag, Peter Musa with 14, and Matty Bogusz and some others with 13. But I think it is going to come down to one of those four in Suarez, Arango, Benteke, and, of course, Denis. But Denis now 2 behind the Golden Boot leader of Christian Benteke. And if you ever want to see some stupid stats, look up Ricky Puch's passing numbers and Christian Benteke's aerial winning numbers. They're so far away from what anybody else is doing. And by the way, Denis Bouanga's shots and shot on target numbers are so far away from everybody else too. Christian Benteke, new leader in the clubhouse with 18 right now.
For now.
Philly.
He's going to run out of gas, Scarf. Benteke's 33 years old. Bouanga is going to run circles around him.
33 is not that old, man.
Yeah, I know. Telling me I turned a few more years than that, 2 weeks ago. No, not 2 weeks ago. A month ago. Jesus, a month ago?
Time flies when you get older, man.
As Linkin Park said, the clock takes life away. So unreal.
Philly, we actually probably petered out here a little bit early too, which is good. I think everybody enjoyed a nice, crisp, tight 50-minute episode 325 about a 0-0 match. The chat was on fire. Philly, I get to go to bed with visions of, I don't know, caipirinhas in my head or something. What, is there a Brazilian
Churrascarias and caipirinhas tomorrow, baby. Let's see. And it's only Tuesday. Nothing says success quite like caipirinhas and churrascarias on a Tuesday.
If Celso, if you're still there, what's a Brazilian pastry that I can have? I know there's like bollo de rolos or something like that, but
I'm sorry, what?
It's like
that's not what I had swimming through my head.
It's I don't know, whatever pastries out there. We got, because visions of sugar plums, something sweet. You know what? I prefer caipirinhas anyway, so I'll just stick with those.
Brigadeiro. Quindim bolo de rolo.
That's the one I said.
Well, oh, geez. I'm not a guy who has a sweet tooth, but looking at images of this stuff, yeah, we need to end the pod now.
Bye-bye.
Oh, wait, I wasn't ready. Okay.
You said we need to end the pod now.
Okay, well, we still have to end it the way we normally end it, right? Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.